Welcome to Asa Abloy's Security Perspectives podcast. In today's complex world, it takes a village to ensure the safety, security, and health of a facility. In each episode, we'll speak with industry experts about their point of view on the latest trends, technologies, and topics impacting the security industry. If you want to broaden your perspective on physical security, this podcast will give you the insight you're looking for. All right, welcome to Season 4, Episode 2 of Security Perspectives podcast. Another very exciting topic today called optimizing large-scale access control deployments for university campuses. I'm very excited that we have both Georgia Tech and Penn State joining us here today. So I'll hand it over to our two guest experts here to introduce themselves. Take it away.
Absolutely. I'm Michael Fellows. I work for Georgia Institute of Technology. I have actually been in higher ed now 15 years. I can't believe I finally hit that mark. And throughout that time, I started as a student assistant, got hired on full-time, and have been in and out either of operations or project management, IT project management for these type of systems or campus services solutions throughout that entire career, and have served a couple different universities. Been here at Georgia Tech now a couple of years, and super excited to kind of see where else we can take it after our existing projects.
Hi there, Elena Steinbugle, Director of Physical Security at Penn State University. I just celebrated 16 years with the institution. I started in a facilities role, and some progressive promotions throughout security and facilities has led me to my current role, which I've been in for 5 years now. So happy to be here today.
I appreciate you guys joining us. And this topic is an interesting one, because if we look back at, I remember, I think, sitting in your office, Elena, 15 years ago. But the trends that we're seeing within access control, obviously more and more of what we sell has wires coming out of it. But what we're seeing is the traditional scale and expansion of access control used to be on smaller scale, 400 or 500 units, maybe 1,000 would be a significant opportunity to deploy. But now we're seeing you guys are setting a new precedent when you start talking about tens of thousands of locks being deployed over a short period of time. There's a lot that goes into that, and it may sound easy just to deploy that, but the backstory there is tremendous, and that's really what we want to focus on today, is looking at both of your institutions. How did you get to where you're at? Because I know it didn't happen overnight. And so a little bit of the backstory, I guess I'll start with Elena here on the backstory of your 16-year career within Penn State to now where you're deploying tens of thousands of locks over a short period of time. Just break that down in a short segment for us.
Sure, I'll try and make it quick. So this conversation actually dates back before me being at Penn State to 2007, if I'm accurate in that, from some of the folks that I've been fortunate to be mentored by throughout this project. But we were successful in 2022 in executing a contract with Asa Abloy for 12,500 locks. With an installation schedule of 3 summers. So it was a 4-year contract, but only installing over 3 years. We took the first year as a planning year. But again, throughout from 2007 to 2022, there was significant effort, multiple times, different points of looking into it, different construction projects where we tried to work this in, value engineered out, and different runs at just saying, hey, this is a great idea. We need to do this for a variety of reasons: security, convenience, just what's happening in the market. But that being said, we were thrilled in 2022 to get the go-ahead from our leadership, and we're happy to be here in year 4 of our contract, which is year 3 of our installation, and we'll be celebrating this August.
Yeah, that's no, we appreciate your trust in our organization as well, to partner with you to deliver and make the student experience and the overall student environment safer one. So we appreciate that. Michael?
Absolutely. So prior to me coming to Georgia Tech, they had been working on getting a contract and installing locks on housing for about 3 years. When I started there, I was actually meant to focus on IT projects, and because of my experience to previous universities and access control and unifying those campus environments, they asked me to work on this project, and they knew they wanted to get all of housing on electronic locks. But there was a lot of question about what system do we go with, what lock style do we go with, and how do we move forward. So we took a few months, brought the contract home, and one of the things that I was told by leadership is you've got 2 years to do this. So we embarked on this project to install 12,000 locks in 2 years. And we were also, alongside of that, addressing about 500 hardwired locks and bringing those up to the campus standard. So along the way, we actually were able to install over 10,000 locks, but we found out we had a little bit more in the project than we actually needed in housing. So we have some leftover locks, about 1,500 leftover locks that we're working on identifying where to put those on campus. But all of those have been complete within 16 months, so under the 2-year timeline. And we have 22 EK1s left. So we're excited. As soon as that hardware comes in, then we'll be able to officially say housing has been converted under that timeline. And now we're figuring out, we've kind of used housing as a pilot for what is that going to look like for the rest of campus. We roughly know how many locks exist on main campus, but now we need to figure out how do we bring that up to today's standard so that we can then build on top of that and enhance our student experience.
Now, so both of you had similar, almost identical number of locks deployed. Why the 4 years for Penn State and 2 years for yourself? Is that financially driven, or what's the backstory there? Is it just sense of urgency from each of you, or elaborate on why 2 years and 4 years?
Well, our plan, actually, the initial plan that we put forth was 10 years, which sounds a bit crazy now looking back. However, the 4 years, we wanted to do this project in unoccupied space. So that limited us to our summer months, which is really just 10 short weeks. So that's around 4,500 to 5,000 locks each summer. And initially, when we were mapping this out on a whiteboard, we had a moment of, we can't actually get this done in 10 weeks. However, got creative in a variety of different ways. So we went from 10 years to 4 years. And as I said, we're actually doing it in 3 because we took that first year to plan, which was really crucial to our success, not only as a school, but I think from the integrator standpoint, and then also Asa Abloy as well, as it relates to everything under the shipping, the custom pallets, all the unique things that we did to make the 3 years of installation successful.
Yeah, that front end, that planning, and can't emphasize that enough. Planning and execution, building that lessons learned on a smaller pilot to understand how's this going to scale to, from 200 locks to 14,000 or to 12,000 locks. So it's very insightful. Now, Georgia Tech, you guys did it in a shorter amount of time in occupied space. So I assume that's going to take a little bit more, bring a little bit more challenge to the installation.
Absolutely, but it brings a different challenge. So for us, it was a sense of urgency. We wanted to get this done. We wanted to enhance the security for our students. We're in the heart of Atlanta, and it's important that we are, putting our students' needs first. So there was a lot of pressure from leadership to make sure that we were doing this in a fast turnaround. I think we were fortunate enough that I've had experience installing in occupied and unoccupied space before. And so bringing that, previous 13 years experience to the table, I was able to guide the teams. While they have never done it before, I had. And so I could guide them through, here's what we need to do this successfully. And there was certainly a learning curve with a new system. And we had a lot of software infrastructure we had to build out leading into the project. But being able to, I like to get it about 80% right before you start, and then, kind of fill those gaps of that 20% just to make sure that we're meeting those timelines, and making sure that your team is, not only do you have a good team, but you have a team that's ready to be flexible and can move and be agile to what's going on, as the project progresses, and have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, because you're probably going to use all of them along the way.
Now, when this was sold to leadership and other stakeholder groups, I'm assuming there were other benefits to access control at the student dorm level, at the student unit level that was more than just having a door that was secure. Could you guys talk a little bit about some of those additional benefits that providing that access control that students utilize on a daily basis? Like what impact that has not only for the university but also for the students?
Absolutely. For us, we were a full mechanical key infrastructure. So every year leading into our move-in, we have about 9,000 students who live on campus, and especially our first year students, because they get rooms first. And so as those students come in, we would spend hundreds of hours packing mechanical keys into a move-in packet, and having to prep that so far in advance just to be able to have this big move-in process orchestrated to hand down a mechanical key. And you still had, mix up every, as they go in, and are constantly having to fix it. So if we could get electronic locks in place and then build an integration, which we did between S2, which is our access control solution, and StarRes, our housing solution, so that when the students actually check in, which they did independent check-in, it was not through an automated process. The students do that from their phone, then their access automatically activates and they're able to use it. And then in the future, we'll take that a step further and their mobile credential will activate. So they don't even have to get a card credential to be able to move on to campus.
And for us, it's operational, but also the student experience as well. Between our 20,000 on-campus students, we were managing 50,000 plus keys, which imposes, a lot of auditing, a lot of tracking. In addition to that, keys are lost, and we were charging our students for key replacements, core changes, and that's just not something that we wanted to do because it's not a great contributor to their overall experience in their college time. So that was one of the factors. Another factor too with our multiple campus structure is we did have some electronic access control at our Commonwealth campuses. And in a lot of ways, Penn State has a 2+2 program design where you do 2 years at a Commonwealth campus and 2 years at our main campus. So students were enjoying electronic access at one location, but then coming to University Park and not enjoying that same experience. So the continuity of service, convenience and service was important to us, and something also that we took into consideration. Not to mention, the incoming students more recently have never used a key in their life to enter their home. The cars that they see their parents drive, our push button. Mm-hmm. So it really was a matter of saying, hey, it's 2020, 2022, whatever year you want to pick, it's time to get with the times.
Sure. Yeah. Now, not only did you guys go from small amounts of access control to large scale access control, now you're talking mobile credentials. So elaborate a little bit further there, Alana, on not only was it access control, but also delivering a mobile credential to your students as well.
Yeah, we decided to do it all at once, which was fun, challenging, sometimes crazy, someone could say. But in some ways, too, I think it made it easier. We did all of it at one time again. It was great for the students because it wasn't a constant level of change, as well as to us as the staff who are participating in the project and collaborating with others. We just got to make it all work together. So for in those senses, it was a win. They were able to make an easy transition from going from a key to mobile versus a key to card to mobile. That learning curve for our customers or our students was much shorter. We were able to jump straight in our systems from going from key to mobile for our students. We're still maintaining cards for faculty and staff. But again, it was just an overall very positive technology advance for our students because that's just what they're used to. The times of using the wallet are just what they're used to.
Thank you.
Yeah. For us, we have been piloting mobile credential for a few years in a kind of isolated way. So this is actually enabling us to go mobile. And so we are reactivating that project right now. But one of the things we were able to do, because we already had that pilot program in place, every single lock that has been installed has been validated with mobile credential to ensure it's working. So we gave our locksmiths who are that final checkpoint of making sure everything is working before they move on, access to a mobile credential so that they can make sure everything is working. And we would have students who would chase them down on the hallway, go, how did you do that with your phone? I want access to that. And so for us, our students are chomping at the bits. We're hoping to bring that to them as quickly as we can.
Yeah, and one thing as you guys were presenting earlier today at the Integrated Access Management and Security Summit, you're going, you guys are looking at the what's next. Even though you've deployed tens of thousands of locks, it's what's next. And Lena, you mentioned earlier, it's great to have all this access control and mobile credentials, but you're moving away from having more keys. But still, the key element of making sure you have control over where the keys are at, there's no duplicates, and so the security then, or the access control system could not be overrode, right? So you guys made an investment there as well to make sure that, with access control, you had complementary, effective key management as well. And then, Michael, you talked about now you have all this access control deployed and you're looking at how to maintain those assets now for your maintenance people and looking at life cycle analysis. So any comments on, you guys are very progressive and you're getting there and you're still considering like what's next for your campus and even going further. I commend you guys, applaud you guys for doing that. So any additional thoughts, Michael, on that and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we recognize is we don't know enough about the non-residential side of campus. So in order for us to bring that side, the academic administrative side, up to the campus standard that we have now set, we need to understand it. So we have actually purchased a solution called Openings Studios, and we're going to be doing a campus analysis. That project actually just kicked off last week, the week after, or week before last, so that we can collect all of the data on the openings on campus and be able to then set, we're going to pair that with FICOM codes, which is kind of a space standardization. So based off of the use of that space and the room functionality, we're going to score it and say it's going to required to have a minimum level of security. And then we're going to take all of that data and be able to build plans on how do we bring anything that is not reaching that level of security up to a higher level of security, or even convenience when it comes to, we want students to be able to get into certain laboratories because they are signed up for class. Well, once they register for that CRN number, then that access will automatically pass through the system, but we have to have all of that in the same ecosystem in order to do that. And then we're also looking at things like, how do we not just meet the ADA standard? How do we enhance that standard? How do we go above and beyond for our students who have severe mobility challenges that, pressing a fob button, which is our current kind of interim solution for a long-range reader, isn't really the solution for them long term. So how do we leverage things like biometric solutions to be able to open those doors for them, paired with an ADA operator, so that they're experiencing the same thing as their fellow students? And how do we bridge that gap between security and convenience for those students? And of course, mobile is our next big piece, I think.
Sure. And one theme that I'm seeing as we've met with other people here at the summit as well is that sense of community I'm seeing, and providing just everyone partnering together, from manufacturers to integrators to consultants to end users, and it's just it's really nice to see that where traditionally things were siloed and everyone was doing they had their own agendas. I really feel like there's a sense of that security community coming together to say, look, we got to be better at what we do and provide a better environment for our students. It's really, really good to see. But I guess as a closing comments, we could take this conversation on for a very, very long time. But I would encourage anybody that's listening is to reach out to us if you have further questions and just about how they deployed this many amount of locks in a short amount of time. But your advice. I'd like to hear from each of you, your advice to a campus that is not a Penn State or a Georgia Tech that's stuck. Mm-hmm. What advice would you have for someone that's new in their role, that where you guys used to be and to where you're at? And what advice would you give somebody that's just trying to start out and get somewhere, right? What would your advice be?
I'll start with saying, start making your plans. Don't wait for approval to put a plan in place. Get your draft going, start socializing. Without putting a plan in place and then beginning to present that plan, no one else will know. We work at an industry where it's not if, it's when. So do the research, do the due diligence, the R&D, what's out there, what's the market saying, what are the needs of the institution, of the campus, what are the interests of the leadership, where did they come from previous to where they currently are now, what kind of technologies were being leveraged there, and kind of lean into what some of that past experience is. But again, have a plan, socialize it if you can, which is the best case scenario, but if not, have it waiting in the wings, because the industry keeps moving. We need the needle to keep moving. But again, the environment we're currently in, unfortunately, it's not if, but it's when.
Do you feel like that plan could be, you mentioned earlier about having a one page, do you feel like that could all be captured on one page versus 20?
Well, I can speak from experience. I have my 20-page executive report that I will probably hold until I retire. But I can promise the administrative units that I presented to did not read it. I have had much more success in my later years here in leadership with the one-page report. If anything, the one-page report starts the conversation. It gets the next questions being asked. And that's when whatever the next best effort is, whether it's conversation, a more formal presentation, bringing a manufacturer in, read the room at that point and make the best decision on what's necessary. But leadership will read one page, but that's probably about it. I also suggest keep the format the same. And when you're asking for things over and over, keep it the same, because they know what to expect from you.
Fantastic. Michael?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say think outside of the box. So don't just as you are planning, because I would agree with what you say about, having your plan and go ahead. Don't wait for approval, but think outside of the box on how you can approach it. Don't just come up with one way to approach the scenario. Come up with 3, 4, 5 ways that you can approach the scenario and get movement and get forward progression, and then get a champion. Making sure if you can get a C-suite champion to understand, whether that be, get creative as we've talked about earlier, putting a lock on their door so that they can understand how what that experience can be, or whether that be just explaining to them, getting them to listen, taking them to coffee. I don't care what it is, but if you can get a champion at the top who understands and then who can start helping you make those connections, then you're going to get a little bit further along as you're progressing.
This has been great. I just want to say thank you both for joining us today in episode 2 of season 4. Your insights and expertise are greatly beneficial to a lot of our listeners and future people that in campuses that want to get to where you guys are at. So thank you for your time. Any parting comments from each of you?
I mean, I feel like we could talk about this all day. So
You have.
Good luck.
You have.
And don't hesitate to reach out to your campus partners and your sister institutions, because we're all in this together, and any way we can help, I think we're all excited to support each other.
That's great.
And thanks for having us. And don't be afraid to start. You have to start somewhere.
That's really great insight. And in closing, I would just like to say, if anyone has not ever attended the Integrated Access Management and Security Summit, what the ladies here mentioned today is these are the types of conversations that we're having on an annual basis with a number of different end user customers and partners as well. So if you're interested in attending, please reach out. So thank you for joining us and listening today. Look forward to next time. Thank you very much.